Hey everybody, welcome back to the bridge, the yet again postponed bridge. I'm gonna let Jen tell you how she was feeling, because everybody was like, is everything okay between you and Jen? And it's like Jen was actually like not feeling so well.
Yeah, oh, Monday night was fine. So first off, yes, I am in a tank top. My kid decided it was too cold in the house, even though it was on 73, and cranked up my heat to 76. And I was like, why do I feel like I'm dying? Yeah. That's why I'm in a tank top, because I'm not going to suffer from heat exhaustion. Monday, I have really bad GI problems. I have GERD. I have really bad GI problems. I may have some other shit going on that I just don't know about. I haven't had checked out yet. I ate something that fucking tore me up.
Oh, Ikeda already with the $5 super chat. Lock him up. Lock him up. We're getting there.
Yeah, I ate something that completely did not fucking agree with me. Like, I was like nauseous and dizzy. And then once I started settling out of that, it was about 10 o'clock at night. I hear my kid crying upstairs. And he's like, I was like, what's up? He goes, I threw up. And he threw up all over his bedroom floor. On his way downstairs to my bedroom, he threw up all over my bedroom floor. Threw up all over my bathroom. And that went on 2 more times.
Yeah,
we
Jen
don't know what we ate. Like,
keep in mind, when Jen contacted me and was like, I'm glued to my toilet, like, he wasn't throwing up yet.
Yeah, he wasn't throwing up yet. And I was like, okay, I'm finally feeling a little better. I'm going to relax. And I don't feel like the room is spinning. And I don't, feel nauseous. Oh,
Jack and Quill, but tiss. Jen realized she was too hot, so she decided she had to be way too hot. All aboard the boob train. We're heading to Mammary Land, everybody.
Like, there's an ice storm that's supposed to be happening. And I'm like, it's so fucking hot in here. But yeah,
it's getting hot in here, so
better.
Jen took off the most clothes she could for YouTube.
Yeah, for you. But I was like finally feeling better. I was like, okay, I'm gonna lay down. I'm gonna go to bed. I don't feel like, I don't feel dizzy. I don't feel nauseous. And then I went to feed the cats, and he told me he threw up. And as I'm going into his room, I stepped in it, and I was like,
ew,
this is gonna be a fucking fun night. Like,
and that's the thing, we're not going any more into gross.
We didn't eat anything similar. I know mine was like a gas GI problem. He ate something off. So it was just a night of, you know what, we're just going to order out for the rest of the week. That's it.
You see, that would be the dangerous one for me, because I'm like celiac and allergic to half of the fucking food chain.
Yeah, I fucking stepped in it. I was like...
So, guys, welcome back to the show. That's why the show is rescheduled on Monday. Welcome to the new time. We are doing, we're going to be doing 11 slots tonight. Or not 11 slots. Is it 11 slots? Yes, it's 11 slots, because 55 minutes to try to keep it around an hour and a half.
We've got an ice storm coming in. We've got an ice storm coming in here, and they're anticipating power outages. They close the schools all over the place. So I want to make sure I don't cut out midstream for everyone. So I was like, we're going to have to cut it short for when.
So we're going to do a minimum. We're going to do like a minimum of 11 slots. We might open up a few more if Jen's looking like she's going to be able to last closer to the hour and a half mark, but we're going to try to stick to the hour mark to begin with. So for those of you who are new to the show, $5 or more super chat, you can change Jen's lights to any 3 colors of your choosing. Just write them in the order that you want.
It could be 1 color, it could be 2 color, it could be 3. For 3 separate colors though, one will be on this lamp over here. And you may not see
pink and purple to open as always.
Okay, you might not see it on this one. So I gotta go down in between each individual light now. How do I do that? I forgot how to operate my own lights. Go me. Because, it's Jen. No, that's crimson. What? No, that's not what I'm looking for.
So again, no pressure whatsoever for anybody to donate. It is just an option if you want to, and it's a lot of fun. So if you guys want to, we're doing it every single week. So don't get hit by fear of missing out. We're doing it every week. Tara, we've got pink and purple and then blue. Thank you so much, Tara.
Pink, purple, and blue. Okay, I'm gonna keep.
All right, so timer starting for pink and purple. It'll just stay whatever the last color was. Red, yellow, orange from Carbuncle. Thank you so much, Carbuncle.
Can you write these down? Because I'm not.
Because
I'm not.
So, we were going to start off on topic for once with how the hell do impeachments work, Jen? Because most people don't seem to fully understand that
Hold on,
he's
let me
on
get the-
trial
there
right
we go.
now for a conviction, but he's already impeached.
All right, so this is how this shit works, yeah. First, you have to impeach him. Why is my camera doing weird things? First, you have to impeach him. So they had the impeachment hearing. They decided to impeach Trump. Now we have an impeachment trial. The impeachment trial determines if he is guilty of any crimes. All impeachment means is he unfit to hold the role of office, I guess, in some way. Or it's like,
Thank you so much, Hunter Watkins. You are now on the list.
you know, it's like, can he like clerically hold the office? And then it's like, nah, yeah, you know, it's a mark stating that even though he was president, he fucked up. What an impeachment trial does is an impeachment trial turns around and determines if he needs to be removed from office, which is no longer applicable. It also sets the stage for a politician to never hold office again. They can try him with crimes against the federal government. If they find him guilty at the impeachment trial, then
he managed to not pardon himself also before he got out.
He can't.
Yep, because he's out of office. So he
No,
did
a
not
sitting
actually...
president cannot pardon themselves.
There was a big constitutional debate about that, actually. Like, Legal Eagle
Not
did a whole
for
episode on it.
Not
for impeachment, no, but for something that they could try to charge him with, like, say, sedition or something like that, he could try to pardon himself.
No, but here's the thing. If the charges of sedition, insurrection, treason came under an indictment of impeachment, that falls under impeachment, and therefore he couldn't pardon himself.
Marrow, thank you so much.
Marrow.
Ferk you, I'm paying you. The running joke for you guys who are not familiar with, so Marrow I am her script editor, and we have the contractual agreement of fuck you, I'm paying you, because I used to edit her scripts for free, or at least I told her that I wanted to, and her response was, no, you do that professionally, I'm going to pay you whether you like it or not. And
fucking Marrow.
She will like put this in her scripts randomly to make sure that I'm paying attention, and it's kind of glorious. So that's, if you guys are curious, that's the running joke between Marrow and I love her to death. Okay, we've got pink, purple, and blue. So, what is he currently being charged for? What have we seen so far?
Insurrection. It's under, yes, we have been able to impeach him. Now we need to see how much further we can go in this impeachment, and the grounds for the impeachment is acts of insurrection.
Oh, we've got the trans pride flag. Thank you so much, yes. Metal Hawk. And Victoria says all purple. All right, so let's see. How many do we have right now? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 2 more slots left for the night, guaranteed, and then there might be 2 or 3 more depending on how Jen's feeling.
Yeah, I gotta see how this fucking weather's holding.
Yep, insurrection, but
which is labeled as a treasonous act, yes, but it is not. He's not being tried for treason. Big difference.
That's a different thing.
You can't convict him of treason unless you try him on treason.
Yeah. However, insurrection might be like there. That's why they showed the video today. But let's go back a little bit.
So what insurrection can do is, if he's found guilty and he's convicted, right? Sorry, y'all, it's fucking hot as fuck in this house. Which is good if, you know, like my power goes out from the ice storm. Because I'm already living in an oven, so. At least
do we want to talk a little bit about the difference legally between treason and insurrection and why that is? Because like I said, Legal Eagle covered this really well. But like there is actually a difference between saying treason and saying insurrection. Treason, you have to specifically lead an army against the United States. It's again how he defined it. Insurrection, on the other hand, it was incitement of or potential organizing against the United States.
So the difference between insurrection and treason, you have to have aided or given shelter to whoever was coming to stop our government process. Some can argue that Trump not calling in the National Guard was aiding. Although what they can fall back on is that it was not aiding because the Capitol Police were there and some members of the National Guard were there due to the post for protest. But insurrection, all you got to do for insurrection is talk shit. Which
are they trying him for sedition? Because they very well could be. Because like
sedition, yes.
Forcefully opposing government authority, preventing, hindering, or delaying the execution of the law of the U.S. I linked an article in the live chat for those that are watching live. It is Saturday Evening Post. It's talking about the difference between insurrection, sedition, and we are next color. The next color is blue. All blue. All blue.
God, that makes my life so fucking easy. Thank you.
All blue. We actually have a trans pride flag in there, which I'm kind of excited about. It's getting toward the end of the show. Trans rights, by the way, for everybody who hadn't heard me say it. Thank you, Alexandra. Welcome to the channel. I've had a incredible amount of growth after that video. I don't plan on doing like videos like that in the future unless I feel like somebody's a danger to the community and people don't know about it yet. But I'm really glad that we like the acts of allyship that Ocean and Wolf and I have been working on have helped out your guys' community. Like the heathen community, I was very concerned that people were getting hurt. So insurrection is defined as involving actual acts of violence against the state or its officers. Whoever incites, sets foot, assists, or engages in any rebellion or insurrection against the authority of the United States or the laws thereof, or who gives aid or comfort thereto, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both, and shall be incapable of holding any office under the United States.
So somebody asked why they couldn't enact the 14th Amendment. They wouldn't have gotten it in time. Mitch McConnell had been refusing to recall until
Jen, your choice.
Oh, I'm going with Fred on that one. They could have acted the 14th Amendment. One, the 14th Amendment takes 2/3 majority, not just a simple majority, and they knew that they weren't going to get that. We all saw how the impeachment papers were passed. Every fucking Republican turned around and said, no, we're not going to impeach him. There was no way that a 2/3 majority would have hit at that time. Also, they were coming so close to the end of the term that he would technically have no longer been president to hold him under the 14th Amendment. So that's why they didn't that's why they didn't invoke the 14th Amendment clause.
Well, plus Mike Pence was also being a prat about it.
No, this wouldn't have had to fall. Yeah, Pence was, well, we'll talk about what happened with Pence later, and I can understand that.
So for treason, just to finish our trifecta of things he could have been accused of, is the one that is the hardest to prove. In part, again, a little history lesson. Part of the reason why it's defined so narrowly is because the drafters of the, Constitution, bless their hearts, were very, very concerned about the fact that the word treason was being used to convict pretty much anybody who pissed off the aristocracy of anything they damn well chose. So,
right.
like, if you went and hunted on the king's lands was the example that Legal Eagle used, you could be convicted of treason instead of trespassing and just be fucked. And so, like, they were like, we have a problem with this, and defined it just narrowly, specifically of levying war against the United States or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless on the testimony of two witnesses of the same overt act or on confession in open court.
Yep.
So, Tirlana,
so
you can be our last. Tirlana, if you want to pick a color set, you can be our last slot for the night if you want it.
So, you have to realize that when you try a case, it doesn't matter what you think they did. It matters on what you can find them guilty of. Trying to find somebody guilty for fucking treason is, I want to say, the last. Did they execute the Rosenbergs on treason? I think they executed the Rosenbergs on treason. And
I can fact check your, I think.
I think they executed the Rosenbergs on treason. And that was during the Great Communist Scare, where they had brought evidence that they were selling secrets to the USSR.
Julius and Ethel Rosenberg who were convicted of spying. Let's see. On behalf of the Soviet Union, the couple was accused of providing top secret information about radar, sonar, jet propulsions, and valuable nuclear weapon designs. Were executed by the federal government in the Sing Sing Correctional Facility in Ossining, New York, becoming the first American civilians to ever be executed for such charges and the first to suffer that penalty during peacetime.
But were they charged with treason?
Convicted of espionage, 1951.
See, even then, they couldn't get him for treason. They got him on espionage, Like, even treason, they were so worried with how recklessly treason was handled back in England that they wanted to make sure that it was extremely specific. And like I said, when you're prosecuting a case, you don't prosecute on what you think somebody did wrong. You prosecute on what you can catch them for. You prosecute on what you can find them guilty for, what you have the evidence for.
Tirlana, you did not need to donate another $5, but thank you so much for doing
14th Amendment, I will read you the 14th Amendment. It's Section 3. Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States states, no person shall be senator or representative of Congress or elector or president and vice president or hold any office, civil, military, under the United States and or any state, who having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States, yada, 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 shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may vote by 2/3 of each house to remove such a disability. That's the 14th Amendment.
Red, yellow, orange.
Oh, jeez. Oh, fucker. Okay.
Hold on. George, to answer, he can't. We actually covered this at the very beginning of the stream. He cannot pardon himself if he is like under specifically impeachment. If he is charged and tried for these things under impeachment, he absolutely cannot pardon himself. And he couldn't have, when he was in office, pardoned himself for something he wasn't already charged for.
Right.
Which is part of why they waited until he was out of office.
Was it red, yellow, orange, right?
Okay. Yes.
All right. No, that's the thing. They could have tried him, but Mitch McConnell didn't want to recall anything back until I'm stuck in my bra strap.
Oh, I know. We get legit questions often enough. I wanted to cover that in case, we have 93 people, and there were not that many people when we covered that part. So
yeah. So a sitting president cannot pardon himself for anything under an impeachment. He was also he was tried with impeachment, but he wasn't having a trial at that point. So it gets kind of really fuzzy about that. It's also very sketchy on what a president can pardon themselves for.
So let's take a walk through history. So Mr. Grab 'em by the pussy didn't somehow get charged on the same things Clinton did. How different is this trial from Clinton's? Because there's a lot of comparisons being drawn.
This is totally different.
And you're old enough to remember that, whereas I was
fuck
off.
Fuck you. I
was taking it. I think I was in kindergarten when that happened, maybe.
When was Clinton impeached?
I was in the 90s.
4?
Then I was a toddler. I was not even in kindergarten yet.
I'm so old I forgot the year. Hold on.
Well, the on-screen research, guys. I hope you love the sound of Jen's mechanical keyboard.
I know. 98, so...
Okay, so I was in first or second grade.
I was 16. I was 16 when that happened. I was 16.
Approximately. So my husband was probably about the same age. So I mean, at least you guys can go be old together.
So here's the thing: one, they were both impeached. Clinton was impeached. And Clinton was not found. Clinton was not convicted of impeachment when it moved on. However, this is really fucking different. For one, there's a lot of gray area when it comes down to the Trump trial because it does reflect on freedom of speech and intent of speech and everything else. Clinton straight the fuck up lied on the stand.
Yeah, he did.
Lied under oath on the stand.
So did she.
Black and white fucking cry.
So did she. I don't know whether or not, do you not know if he has foreskin?
Yeah, but he,
With her, though, I can see why she would, because she was being coerced, and
she was also 24. She was in her early fucking 20s.
She was a private citizen who became the very first public shaming sort of victim completely unreasonably. She was taken advantage of and then blamed for it, and basically put on.
And then her fucking homegirl turned on her. I would have beat that bitch's ass on the White House lawn.
I'm just gonna say she did nothing fucking wrong. There was a power imbalance there, 100 fucking %.
Yes, absolutely. So the difference in the Clinton trial was. Clinton was, I did not have sexual relations with this woman. Clinton
relations.
Clinton had civil suits against him for other sexual harassment cases. I don't remember if it was Jennifer Flowers or not. There was so many, I can't remember who it was. So what they were using the Monica Lewinsky affair as a pattern of conduct, a pattern of behavior. And
Phelan says she might have been 22.
I was 16, I think so. Phelan, I'm fucking there with you. But
no, Phelan was saying Lewinsky might have been 22.
Oh, yeah, she was 22. Fuck, we weren't even that far apart. Holy shit. So it was during a civil suit. He was under oath, and what they were trying to do was establish patterns of behavior. Yes, it was her first job, and it was actually an internship. She was an intern.
Yeah, so she was an intern who had an affair with the most powerful man in the entire world. Can you talk about a bigger power imbalance? You want to talk about fucking parasocial relationships? How much worse could that possibly get? And she got fucked for it. He didn't.
Right.
You don't
So,
hear anybody
they-
asking him if he, like, is ashamed to go out anymore.
Of course not, because he's a fucking man, and that doesn't apply. Hello, Britney Spears. So, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, which is what I'm probably going to be doing a video on this week. So, yeah, he was under oath, and they were trying to establish patterns of behavior. And he straight the fuck up said, I never had an affair. I never had sexual relations with that woman. Really, Bill?
I don't know. Ask the powerful men of the world. It seems to happen frequently with them. Ask some powerful women as well. There just seems to be this sex imbalance even with that, or even gender imbalance, I suppose, because, like,
Well, and what, I'll get into that in my next video. Okay. Yeah, Monica Lewinsky's doing pretty well right now. She actually is the one that actually came out as clean as possible from everything. She's
like advocates against cyberbullying and shit.
Yeah,
now.
and now there's questions about the Clinton links with Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh, motherfucker! Do we have any mods in the chat? We've got Nazis.
What are the next colors? Yeah, if we can get a mod in the chat, that would be great. And
all right, let's see. Next color is purple and red.
Purple and red. I'm just not going to pay attention to this. So,
Mero, I am so sorry that you do not have any milk and you really want coffee. If you have like cashews in your fridge and a decent blender, you could toss about like a tablespoon of cashews in with about a quarter or a half a cup of water, and you can like blend it really, really finely and then strain it, and that can substitute for milk.
I have like the worst throat gas right now. I'm so sorry. I ate delicious burgers and I clearly did not learn my lesson from Monday.
So, like, on top of that, though, like the way that this is, the professionalism of the way that this trial is, the seriousness of the allegations, first off, but also, you want to talk a little bit about the language, because, like, he was stammering over the word, like, member, even, to talk about his dick, and, like, the word pussy was apparently used on the floor today, according to, like, our pre-show thing that we were talking about.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, they used penis for Clinton, and pussy was spoken on the floor. On record today. So, apparently it had to, there was an issue with Donald Trump calling Mike Pence a pussy, and that was admitted in evidence today. So the word pussy has now been said on the floor, and
so
what the fuck is my kid doing?
I'm going to be putting a article in the live chat. This is a live feed update that will update even for those of you who are watching this on the playback. We're going to, trigger warning, we're going to be talking about violence. We're going to be talking about some pretty goddamn harsh language. Like, if you're watching this on the playback, we're going to be, like, some of the video stuff that they put forward, we're going to be talking about some pretty graphic shit. So
Right.
if you've got any sort of PTSD around, like, violent acts, or if you've been in the military and you've got that sort of PTSD, we're going to be talking about armed mobs, like, storming and harming people. So, like, this is your warning. You got to trigger, like.
So, yeah, and the difference is, I mean, one, we had some pretty clear-cut shit. Clinton lied under oath, under sworn oath, on record, so that was pretty easy to impeach him on. However, I guess they
that
felt
was apparently also said on record today.
Fuck! I'm sure it was said quite a few times, just having to sit through Trump's defense lawyers' opening statements.
Yeah, there was somebody who went by the username Heil Hitler, who I killed in the chat. By killed, I mean they're silenced now. But yeah, we've got Nazis in the chat again. Thank you, mods, for being on top of things.
So, yeah, it was pretty clear-cut with Clinton. He lied under oath on an official record, on a transcript. However, they did not feel that what he did was grievous enough to pull him out of office, so they didn't convict him. That's what happened with that. Trump, this is really fucking weird, and it's really different because we have never had to question the safety of our president through his words before. So now we have to argue intent of thought. We have to argue intent of words, intent of statements, intent on social media, which is very much gray areas. And while we all can turn around and say, the fuck do you think? This is very easily argued as you can't describe context or syntax through a social media post that's limited to 140 characters.
Thank you so much, Asha.
Todd, no. So let's get into why that's no.
There's a whole case that is slowly being built. Though I have some commentary from early parts of the thing. I'm just putting a pin on GOP senator compares Capitol riot to summer protests in Seattle and Portland. Hi, I live near Seattle. I've got some words to say about that.
I mean, we all saw that coming. But okay. So now we're going to have to get into the actual trial. So what happens is the last 2 days were setting the ground rules, setting down what the fuck people were, what the fuck they were going to do, how many hours was going to get argued, blah, 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 blah. I believe Trump's lawyer dispensed their opening statement yesterday, which, what?
Oh, Cyrus Heroes, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. If you were trying to send words, they didn't get sent, but if you want to, let me know in your next post what you wanted to say, and I'll read it out loud.
So, like, I couldn't fucking decipher. Clearly this guy was high on fucking coke, or Adderall, like fucking something. Because what in the fuck was going on with that opening statement? What was going on there? I had a hard time even like remembering what it was because I couldn't follow it. I was like, well, okay. So they did opening statements yesterday.
Do you want to go over the reading between the lines of the first impeachment trial arguments, section of the article? Because they actually talked about them.
What do you mean?
The House, like the opening arguments. There was an analysis done by CNN that we can go through if you want to go through the opening arguments.
What is the lights though first?
Lights, yes. Next section. Give me a second. I have 2 Word documents open because I was editing. Green.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Marrow.
Thank you,
Sarah. Here and figure out. Wait, that's turquoise. Black.
Thank you so much for the support, then, Cirrus Heroes. That very, very much appreciated.
Yeah, but go ahead. Pull up the article. Pull up what you want to read through.
So the House side states that impeachment exists to hold presidents accountable, even on their way out the door. Mm-hmm. Raskin spoke in personal terms about having his children in Capitol Hill that day. It's important to remember the jurors of the Senate are also witnesses, and the Senate chamber is a scene of the crime. And Trump was still in charge on January 6th. Earlier impeachments weren't all that rare. The peaceful transfer of power is key to the whole system and can't be threatened. Trump cannot be allowed to continue to hold office or to hold office in the future, which is what this is about. And finally, Trump's specific offense, inciting a mob to attack the Capitol, demands impeachment.
Like,
so for those of you who want to follow along, I'm pasting the article in the live chat. It should be available on the playback once the video is done processing. It might not be available overnight for those of you who watch it right away after we're done.
The president incited a mob. I mean, let's just fucking think about this for a goddamn second, because it's like we're a little over a month out from when it happened, right? So we've had some time to kind of like settle in, look at everything, and go like, what the fuck, right? The fucking president incited a mob to storm the Capitol, hang his vice president, murder his Speaker of the House, steal the Electoral College votes, and keep him in power.
Apparently, we have been threatened with incoming Jack and Quill fan art, just so you know.
Oh, shit. But, like, let's fucking think about that. Okay, because that's what happened. Like, this is what we're arguing. We're arguing if a sitting fucking president instructed rebels to storm the Capitol building, hang the vice president, kill the Speaker of the House, to steal and destroy Electoral College votes to keep him in power.
And the thing is that the defense, like, this gives us a great transition to the defense. Their defense is like, well, he didn't actually tell them to storm the mob and, like, hang the vice president. They did that on their own. So let's go ahead and go through this section of the article.
What the fuck?
For those of you who want to read the direct actual opening statements, it would take me far too long to reiterate.
Oh my God, I cannot sit through that again.
So I'm going to read the summaries and the attempted analysis.
I felt like I was high on acid watching that.
Yeah.
I
So,
thought I was going to look at my kitchen and see a fucking dragon guarding my fucking fridge with how I felt watching this motherfucker talk. I was
So
like,
I'm going to read small excerpts from the opening statements from the Senate, but just to give you guys context, because unlike the very clear House statement of, "Hey, this motherfucker can never hold power again. Let's like stop that from happening," plus because he tried to overthrow the government and like become a dictator. Let's go ahead and kind of look at what they were trying to say and then what was actually said, because the Senate, like the defense, is confusing. Trump, however, equivocated what they tried to distance Trump from the mob he inspired. Trump, however, equivocated in the immediate wake of the violence. Castor, you will not hear any member of the team representing former President Trump say anything but the strongest possible way to denounce the violence of the rioters and those that breached the Capitol, the very citadel of our democracy, literally the symbol that flashes on television whenever you're trying to explain that we're talking about the United States. Instant symbol. To have it attacked is repugnant in every sense of the word. The loss of life is horrific. There's so much like waffling there. So much.
so this is excuse me, this is something I want to touch on. For those people who say, well, he didn't tell them to, Jesus Christ, those fucking burgers. He didn't tell them to go storm the Capitol. Okay. How many, a show of F's in the audience, how many people in the audience feel that Osama bin Laden was guilty for 9/11? Curious.
Jen, you're not serious enough. That would be H's, not F's.
Well, I'm saying F's. Okay, you know what? Nah, give me D's for dragons. Give me D's. How many D's in the chat feel that Osama bin Laden was guilty for 9/11? Okay.
Thank
Did
you so much,
Osama
Barry.
bin Laden himself tell any one of the hijackers to hijack planes and fly them into buildings? No. Instead, he insinuated it. He thought this may be a good idea through other ranks. Yet he is just as guilty. So why is Trump turning around and saying, I would march to the Capitol with you. You are going to have to fight for your government. How is this any different?
All right, next is pink, purple, blue.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Who did that shit? Who? Who did that shit? Pink, purple, blue. I don't even know where the fuck I am right now with these lights. Holy fuck. I didn't realize my closet light is still on. This is the kind of night. So, yeah. What was it? Green, what?
Wow. Good job. Pink, purple, blue.
Pink, purple, blue. Okay.
Yes, Akeda, I was actually about to pop in and say that what Trump did is effectively stochastic terrorism. Now, what Osama bin Laden did is not stochastic terrorism. What Osama bin Laden did was just traditional terror cell terrorism. But what Trump did is actually a part of stochastic terrorism. For those of you who don't know, stochastic terrorism is where large sort of networks of interconnected extremist ideals are consumed en masse and eventually birth a lone wolf because somebody is going to be unstable enough to hear a message and hear a call to action, but nobody actually issued directly that call to action. So even though, say, Ben Shapiro is going to be an example that I'll name and shame on this show, or Blair White or whatever, even though all they're doing is feeding the right-wing terrorist conspiracies sometimes. Blair's probably a little more mild in some ways.
But this can be comparable to bin Laden because they did not receive their orders direct from bin Laden. The 9/11 terror cells were the idea came from bin Laden and some of his higher level officials.
What Jen is talking about was even though bin Laden himself did not give the order for 9/11, as far as we can tell, he's still guilty for it because it was his terror cell that he was leading.
Right.
And we're talking about how stochastic terrorism works as a comparison because what Trump did was stochastic terrorism.
And why can't we compare what Trump did to bin Laden? Why? Because bin Laden was more successful?
It's actually more that, like, the chain of command's a little more clear with bin Laden versus with stochastic terrorism.
Not really, because when you look at who all financed 9/11, who all brought 9/11 together, Al-Qaeda is not a rigid, structured army. Al-Qaeda is a group of militia and rebel groups that have come together to fly under one banner. So this really is not any different. And the order itself did not come from bin Laden. The order itself came from whoever is leading this offshoot and this band of rebels that has decided to come under immunity under the Al-Qaeda flag. This is not an organized military. It's not. Mm-hmm. So I don't see how this is any fucking different. I don't see how this is any fucking different, especially the fact that companies that are tied to Trump have been found to put funding into these groups. I don't see how what Trump did and how Trump orchestrated this any fucking different than bin Laden. Well, yes, the orders didn't come directly from bin Laden. The orders didn't come directly from Trump. However, everything he did and everything he stated absolutely incited it.
Kitsune, there actually is arguably a case for that. That if like the NIFB, if somebody commits a crime against, anybody in the LGBT that was an attendee of the NIFB church, there could be potentially grounds for calling it stochastic terrorism because they stoked that hate until somebody decided on their own to do it. And that's what I was trying to explain is stochastic terrorism is effectively like, let's talk about Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro and Blair White.
Hold on. I want to know who the son of Sothis is and why it's such a facepalm. I'm curious. Please enlighten me.
Trigger warning, Jen's about to get mad at the chat.
Enlighten me. Well, no, I'm genuinely interested to hear their point of view.
Jack and Quiddle. But Jen, those people were brown. You're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it.
Jesus, tell it on the fucking mountain, because that's what that shit is right motherfucking there.
There's for the record, difference. We're not endorsing blaming brown people because we're brown. We are mocking the fact that white folks, predominantly white, angry, middle and upper class folks, did not the police fucking let them in. They just did.
And what fucking kills me is the white cops let them in. Thank you, Carpathia. And somebody else had said earlier that I looked really good in this, and thank you for the compliment. The white cops let them in. The black cop saved the fucking senators.
Yes. So, coming back to the fourth attempt to finish stochastic terrorism, the explanation. Effectively, what it is let's go back to Ben Shapiro, Blair White, fucking what's her butt, the one who's always going on about the great replacement, fucking who the hell was she? I'm trying to remember her name. What they do is they constantly stoke these fears and anger and keep their followers in a state of hyperarousal is the psychological term for it. And so eventually what's going to happen is that somebody who's a little more unstable is going to hear, for example, let's quote the president because, YouTube shouldn't demonetize me for quoting the president, right? They're not sending their best. They're sending rapists. They're sending da-da-da. They hear that. And what they hear is go get an an AK-47 and go shoot some brown people that are trying to cross the border or, just the brown people in your town that you think illegally did because you're a racist fuck and assume that everybody did. So and again, Native Americans have actually experienced a huge increase in violence because of the violence that has also been increased against folks from Central America and from Mexico. And anybody who's darker skinned, actually this president has seen a massive, there was an article doing over 100 different Trump related crimes where they outright quoted the president when they did that. That is stochastic terrorism. You're in Caitlin Bennett. Thank you so much, Mero.
But Lauren Chen was also named. So
there are a bunch of them. It's Caitlin Bennett and Lauren Southern. That's the person I was thinking of. Lauren Southern is the worst of the worst. She's fucking out and out about it. She doesn't she is dog whistling fucking, oh gods, never mind. I'm not going to say it.
So, and this is the thing. Trump had more of a hand in directing these people than Osama bin Laden did. Because, and it came out today, while they were 100 feet away from Mike Pence, 2:20 in the afternoon, at 2:24, Donald Trump tweeted his disdain for what Mike Pence did and that Mike Pence essentially was spineless. Pence...
Green, orange, blue.
Oh, okay. Mike Pence was not escorted out of the building till 2:26. So Trump knew. Trump heard them screaming, "Hang Mike Pence." gets on Twitter, calls Mike Pence spineless while Mike Pence is still in the building and they're storming this building.
Okay, apologies to my German audience, but Osric, Lauren Southern is what happens when you've been dog whistling for so long, you forget that the tune you're whistling is Der Weselied.
She's not dog yodeling. That bitch is top 40 right now within that community.
If
what
you
were
get
the colors
that
again, I'm sorry.
If you get that reference, I'm sorry. Green, orange, blue.
Green. Oh, fuck. Wait, no, that's not the one I did. You talk. I gotta figure this shit out now. No, I don't. Yeah, that happened.
What happened?
I shut the lights off.
Whoops.
Yeah. Okay.
Gaia's got my reference. If you didn't, then good. If you did, then I'm sorry. So coming back to that's kind of what stochastic terrorism is. The argument that is going to have to be made is also, though, that there were several prominent members of the House and Senate that had direct connections to some of the big organizers of this riot, particularly Republicans from the House. In fact, several of the organizers, one of which in particular had meetings with several different Congress people organizing this. So he, there's no way he didn't fucking know about it when his colleagues were helping organize it.
I still want to know how comparing what Donald Trump did to what Bin Laden did is not comparable. Aside from successfulness. And when we look at everything that went on that day, it was a series of mistakes that we didn't have dead members of Congress. It was a series of mistakes that we don't have a dead vice president. It was literally a series of shit that they didn't account for, that we don't have 5 to 15 dead people on the Capitol grounds. What the fuck is going on in that chat?
So Freya was, I used the wrong word. I said dare instead of Horst. But I referenced the Nazi national anthem as being the thing that Lauren Southern was dog whistling. Because it's a fact I happen to know.
Because she actually does it.
So let's try to get back through. Hey, thank you so much, Jail.
Thank you, Jail.
Hey, you too. Sorry I'm late to stream. I hope you guys are having a lovely night.
Tops on from now on. Holy fuck.
Also, apparently, Jen is looking gorgeous. All right, so we barely got into the opening argument, and we just fucked right off into the weeds as you do on this show.
As we do. What is bap, Gaius? Can you explain that to me? Because you've been saying it like
thwapping you with a newspaper on the forehead.
Don't threaten my ass. What a good time. I am dry spelled and backed up, Gaius. Don't
looks like we might be opening up 4 or 5 more slots because we're going to need a bit more time to talk about tonight. Like, we're going to probably have to go to the hour and a half mark. We got 20 minutes left and we're still at opening arguments. Up topic, but sorry, Ellie,
I don't know who that Tubby guy is, but thank you.
That Tubby guy is a new member of our community, actually.
Hi.
Lilac Rose, but are you planning another Q&A? I found your channel recently, and I would love to get advice on finding a Gnostic community. I do Q&As at random and when I feel like them. They tend to be Saturday streams when I do them, but yes, I'm planning on doing another Q&A when my life calms down enough to do a Saturday stream. So stay tuned. If you're in my Discord, those announcements always go out at least a day or two before, so you'll always be updated on when stuff's going on. Speaking of which, 2 seconds chill. There's 113 of you guys. If even half of you could go and hit that like button, or even hit the down, even hit the downvote button if you never want to see me again.
Go sub to my channel would be great.
Yeah, go sub to Jen. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, we just hit 3K tonight, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, they were caught off guard by the strength of the House manager's presentation. They actually had to kind of shift midstream because they were getting criticized for being so rambling. I'd be frank with you, we changed what we were going to do on account of the fact that we thought the House manager's presentation was well done, and I wanted you to know that we have responses to those things. So he complimented the opposition midway through the speech, which was hilarious. They argued that impeachment was unnecessary. Voters solved the problem by electing Joe Biden, which will drive Trump crazy.
What do you think started this shit? JL, I'm feeling much better. Thank you, sweetheart.
They said the trial is happening too fast. The trial is just starting over a month after the events that triggered the case. So let me read that section because it is glorious.
This was fantastic. It's happening too fast.
What? So pink, blue, white. We got trans flag colors.
All right. Yeah, Jen ate burgers and her stomach is doing it.
So for those of you who aren't familiar, we've got like we're opening up 5 more slots. We're going to probably go to the hour and a half mark. Those of you who have already super chatted,
that Ice took down my power lines. So.
Yep, and if she cuts out, then I will close out the stream. But for those of you that have, if you've donated, Jail, Ikeda, if you guys want to pick a color, you guys are welcome to. I believe Lilac, you also donated. So if you guys are interested in picking a color, you can pick up to 3 different colors.
No, that makes me orange. Okay.
All right.
There we go. That still kind of makes me orange, but fuck it, we'll deal with that.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
That is an old reference, and I'm dating myself. Yeah. So let's read this. To say there was a rush to judgment by the House would be a grave understatement. It is not as if the House members who voted to impeach were not mightily warned about the dangers to the institution of the presidency and to our system of due process. They were warned in the strongest of terms from within their own ranks, adamantly, clearly, and under no uncertain terms, not to take this dangerous snap impeachment course. Those warnings were framed in the context of the constitutional due process that was denied here.
This is like here and over there and over there and over there and over here and over there. But this is what Trump did. This is also what Trump did during his presidency, is that when he was in this shit or he didn't have anything to back his shit up, he would talk in like 85 different places. And this is a known abuser tactic. When you call them on their shit, they go in 85 different directions so that you have a hard time pinning down what you need to come at them for. This is like, I call it the Roadrunner tactic. So you're chasing this, you're chasing that, you're chasing this, and you wanna call them out in the moment, but you can't because there's 85 different things. And if you keep calling them out on every little fucking thing, then you're not gonna argue about the original argument. The Taurus system is not exactly gaslighting. Gaslighting is making you feel as if your reality is not your reality. And the term gaslighting comes from a movie. Maybe it was called The Gaslight. I can't quite remember. But the basis
it was literally called The Gaslight.
It was called The Gaslight, right? Okay. So the basis,
guy,
the basis of this movie was he would dim the lights. The husband, right, would dim these lights that ran on gas. So he would dim these lights a little bit every night. And when the wife was like, yo, what the fuck is going on with the lights? He's like, there's nothing wrong with them.
But he was trying to make her go crazy so that he could steal her money because she had an inheritance.
Right.
And then at the end, it was revealed that he was gaslighting her, that he was lying to her when the policeman came in and said that he saw them too. Mm-hmm. And that's just the whole thing.
Yeah, I call it the Roadrunner.
Apparently it was a play first.
Was it? Oh shit. I didn't know that.
All right, so we have at least 2 answers. Make sure you guys tag me so that I can actually see when you want. There's 2 or 3 other people who have donated who, if you want those slots, you can have them. Yellow, orange, and pink is the next one that I have to add to the thing. We've still got 2 more slots left.
Pink, so pink is, I'll stay there.
Yeah, no, we're not at the next one yet. I was verbalizing what I'm putting on the list. The next one after this is actually straight purple, so you're going to be happy because it's one color. Yeah, the lights would dim because he was prowling around in the attic.
Right. But he was like, no, there's nothing fucking going on.
And Spider, you're actually perfectly
the Gish Gallop, yes,
here.
Thank you. I call it the Roadrunner tactic because you're chasing something that's really hard and you're just chasing it in circles, but it's impossible to catch. So I call it a Roadrunner tactic. It is Gish Galloping, which Gish Galloping drives me fucking nuts.
The last point that they tried to make was the trial's actually about politics, not the Constitution, and punishing somebody who held office post hoc and barring them from forever being in office is a dangerous precedent to set.
So is inciting people to storm the Capitol, hang your vice president, and literally keep you in charge as a dictator.
So let's talk a little bit about that because we got opening arguments for the most part yesterday, but today we saw some pretty disturbing footage.
Oh, today was rough. Today, yeah. So if you guys are
If you've got a weak stomach, do not watch
if
the
you're not
playback on that.
not okay with acts of violence, we'll give you a minute here to click off.
And last trigger warning, because we're about to talk about some shit. All right, so this is ample time.
So there were previously not publicly released audio from on the ground, surveillance cameras from on the ground. In that, let's start with the audio. The audio came from Capitol Police that were on the ground as they were storming the Capitol. And what they were saying is that they were throwing metal poles at these officers, that officers were hurt, that they were breaking the barriers. I have Zoom, major.
Yeah, they do not they don't censor the trial evidence. If you watch the trial on the playback, you're gonna see violence and hear some pretty heavy stuff.
Right. Purple, right?
Yep, straight purple.
Oh, that's lovely. Hey, stop your shit. You wrecked my shit.
Where can you see this, Nervardia? They're
everywhere.
Everywhere. There's lots of websites when it's up. CNN actually had playback on there. They were showing it live for most of today. Twitter people have clips. There are clips on YouTube of news coverage of these things. If you want to watch the trial live tomorrow when it's up on day 3, they will be streaming it live on the same CNN page that I linked in the live chat. If those quick show of hands from the live chat, please press H if you would like me to add the link to the live CNN to the description so that people can check in when they watch it on the playback in case it blows by in the live chat.
So it was between officers on the ground in dispatch, Capitol Police officers in dispatch. And dispatch was saying they're throwing metal poles at us. They were screaming, "Hang Mike Pence." Audibly. For those
which we already knew, but hearing that in the thing it made it a lot more visceral because hearing about it
chilling because you see
that chat is very H. I'm relinking the article that we're referencing in the live chat again, but I'm about to go add it to the description, so anybody watching it on the playback, you will have access to it.
So they're screaming, "Hang Mike Pence, hang Mike Pence," and you can kind of turn around and say, "Oh, it's just people talking shit," until you realize they wheeled a gallows in front of the Capitol. They were going to hang him.
They did. Several of them also had wrist ties and such.
Zip ties, gags, blindfolds.
Some of the most chilling stuff, though, was what they said about Nancy Pelosi as well. She was removed entirely from the Capitol complex because there was some really chilling shit said about wanting to find her and kill her.
Just to track back on Mike Pence. Mike Pence was within 100 feet of this mob when they breached the Capitol. 100 feet, which is from here to my bathroom. 100 feet.
They were just feet away from one of the doors to his chamber, too.
They were feet away from one of the doors of his chambers. This was at 2:20 in the afternoon. 2:20. President Trump knew Mike Pence was in that building. Knew Mike Pence was in his chambers. At 2:24, when this crowd was 58 steps, 100 feet from the vice president screaming, "Hang Mike Pence," Donald Trump at 2:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time sent out a tweet saying how spineless Mike Pence was and because he would not revoke the EC vote. He would not stand behind him and that this vote was a fraud. Mike Pence was not safely evacuated until 2 minutes later. Donald Trump directly put his vice president's life in danger. They were 100 feet from him. There were calls to murder Nancy Pelosi. Not only were there calls, Nancy Pelosi's staff was in her office when this had gone down. She was on the floor.
They ransacked her office and left it completely trashed.
The way that we now know her staff had been barricaded inside the office, they were barricaded inside another room. They were barricaded inside a closet and then put furniture in front of this door. This mob broke down Nancy Pelosi's door, tried to fuck with this door, and upon realizing they could not open it, walked away from it. They tore down the door screaming, "Where is Nancy Pelosi?" threatening to kill Nancy Pelosi. Went through her office, stole her laptop, shit on her desk, and stole top secret files out of her drawer.
Also, several laptops were stolen and like hard drives from computers were stolen. We don't know where some of that information ended up. We have not found it yet.
Hey, what in the actual fuck are you doing? Thank you. Sorry.
As you mentioned, Eugene Goodman saved Mitt Romney's life.
Yes, Eugene Goodman saved Mitt Romney's life. We now saw, on the surveillance photo, and this much chat Mitt Romney's racist Mormon ass that it was a fucking black man. Mitt Romney and an aide were coming up the stairs to go into the chamber. And this amazing officer, Eugene Goodman, was running in the opposite direction. What color do we have?
Next color is red.
Oh, thank you.
That's your pick. Thank yourself.
That makes my life so much easier.
And Takeda, because Takeda was like, let Jen pick.
Thank you, Takeda. So he, in passing, when he was coming...
Yeah, Pence had his kid in the building. Like it was his whole family that was sheltering there.
He had his kids in the building, and Pence's kids, I want to say, are younger. He's got some younger ones. I think he had brought.
And Trump probably did know his VP was bringing family.
No, he knew. He sees his VP every morning during his briefings, so he knew that Pence had his family in the building with him that day. Still tweeted this out. 2:24 in the afternoon.
Didn't they promote Eugene Goodman to the new Sergeant at Arms? Thank you so much, Dale.
They did promote him Sergeant at Arms. So Eugene Goodman, as Mitch McConnell was coming into the chamber, he was walking to the chamber, Eugene Goodman was coming out because he was looking to respond to another part of the building. Stops Mitch McConnell, tells him to turn around and go the other way. If it wasn't for this man, Mitch McConnell could have lost his life.
And the officer
I'm sorry, Mitt Romney. It was Mitt Romney, not Mitch McConnell.
It was
Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney may have lost his life.
Chuck Schumer and his security detail had to run from rioters.
Right.
They had to use their bodies to keep the doors shut.
Let's look at who we have in this lineup. We have Mike Pence, who Donald Trump had consistently turned around and said he won't stand up for me. He's allowing this election to be stolen. He was 100 feet away. Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House, and she's had it out for Donald Trump since day fucking one. So we know she's an enemy. Mitt Romney has largely turned against Trump and was like, fuck you, you're a piece of shit. So he's now an enemy. Chuck Schumer...
Thank you so much, Carpathia.
Thank you, Carpathia. Chuck Schumer is a very prominent Democrat that's had it out for Trump. Because everyone fucking hates him in New York.
Yep, and the insurrectionists somehow had maps.
And we'll get to that. I actually covered that in my last video. So this was literally their hit squad. This is who they wanted to hit. This was their hit list. If it wasn't for Eugene Goodman, both Chuck Schumer and Mitt Romney would be dead right now. They would have came head on into this crowd. Mm-hmm. Like I said, this was a series of people who think they're pretty intelligent, who aren't, who didn't account for shit like this. Had they had accounted shit, it was just a series of mistakes that no politician died. They beat a Capitol Police officer to death with fire extinguishers. So somebody did die.
One dude was carrying a 950,000 volt stun gun.
Mm-hmm. So
walking stick.
The only reason we don't have dead members of the House is a series of just fucked up mistakes. Small, inconvenient mistakes is the only reason we don't have a dead vice president. We don't have dead politicians. We don't have a fucking slaughter on the Capitol floor.
Oh no, Mero, we have confirmation from several of those rioters that they wanted to take her captive and potentially torture her for secrets.
Right. With AOC, And I
The,
covered
the
this in
most
my
painful
last.
part of this is that it was all planned in public. Like they flat out said in live streams on this platform that they
Yeah.
wanted to do that, and somehow those you are still up. You could still watch them.
This was planned in private Facebook groups. This was planned on Parler. This was planned on Twitter, DMs on Twitter. This was planned on Telegram.
This was planned in the open in live streams on YouTube as early as like December, November.
Yeah, on Twitch.
And on, of course, the piece of shit that everybody fucking hates, which is, god damn it, what was the name of the other one? Like, fucking racist YouTube. I'm trying to remember the actual name of it.
I stay away from it, so I don't usually remember those.
God damn it. Somebody in the chat's going to tell me. Somebody in the chat's going to remind me. But it's the one that Bosch went to for a little while when YouTube was like, you don't get to live stream anymore for an entire month.
So I want to touch on something that Phelan said about a stun gun can kill this old as fuck congressman.
BitChute. Thank you, chat.
BitChute. Oh, yeah. So do y'all know how one of these protesters died? He stun gunned himself in the balls while he was trying to steal a painting.
Hail Priapos.
So to say that a stun gun could have killed somebody, could have given them a heart attack, because it did. Like, I mean, granted, yeah, he was trying to steal a painting from the Capitol and stun gunned himself to the balls and died.
Don't ever go to BitChute unless you want to like rip every ball off of everything that you see from here to Nantucket.
Another protester. No, Victoria. No, he absolutely died from a heart attack from stun gunning himself in the balls. Another protester was trampled to death after carrying a "Don't Tread on Me" flag.
Blue, white, and pink. We're back to the trans flag.
Fuck it.
Trans rights.
Okay, hold on.
How do you debunk somebody's death? Well, I mean, you can debunk an initial suspected cause of death with an autopsy.
No, I think they confirmed it.
All right, Google foo, guys. I'm about to go figure it out.
It was blue, white, and pink. You guys might not see the pink, so we've gotten a couple of requests for that, so I'm trying to just rotate out the colors for it. Excuse me. Oh my god, these burgers were so good, but fucking shit. Ugh. I'm paying for it now. There we go. So, yeah. We've got that. We've got AOC has been getting torn apart. So for those of you who don't know,
the rumor, apparently, according to this article, it was probably a joke. Nobody's been able to confirm it.
I thought like his family came out and verified it, that he did die that way.
It was an independent reporter, but later she retracted the tweet.
Oh, I thought the family had come out and said, yeah, no, he really fucking
I'm not finding anything that says they have.
I could have sworn I saw something with the family.
USA Today, fact check, Alabama man at Capitol riot died of a heart attack. I'm not seeing anything confirming that had actually happened.
I could have swore somebody from like his family actually came out. So, see, Skeptic says taser in the balls.
Facebook user alleged that Greason was looting the Capitol and he accidentally set off the taser. Another claimed that Greason went to Capitol to overthrow the election but died tasing himself. Attorney Greason was not tased.
Hold on.
R rating false from USA Today.
All right, let me hit up Rebecca this week. Skeptic is Rebecca Watson. She is an amazing fucking person.
Heart attack, but no balls.
Aww.
But yeah, USA Today says R rating false. USA Today is usually a reliable source.
So, AOC is now coming under shit that she heard, where is she? And she was barricaded in a closet. She couldn't see who was saying this. Let me explain how the Capitol complex fucking works for y'all. There are tunnels under the Rotunda building. The Bullseye building is what we call it. Yeah. So there are tunnels. And these tunnels are made. And I explained this in my last video. Allie, if you maybe want to, if you can pull that up and link that. I explained this in my last video.
On it.
There are tunnels under the Capitol building. These are actually meant to keep representatives safe. This way they can still conduct... They can still conduct business should the Capitol go onto lockdown. They can exit the Capitol safely. But this connects to all of the buildings within the Capitol complex. These rioters had maps of what we call the catacombs. The catacombs are the tunnels underneath. So she did not know if this was a police officer or a rioter that had gotten into the catacombs, went through the tunnels, and had access to her building and figured out where she was. I just heard.
It was the gatekeeping grief, correct? Is the one you want linked?
Yes, gatekeeping grief. That was the one.
Excellent video, by the way, guys. I'm going to be linking this in the live chat. You should absolutely check it out.
So
that would have made him president scrotum. Thank you, Akeda.
Now, with all of this, with all of this that we're seeing, and this shit is, everyone's like, okay, so this is how the mob reacted. How is Trump compliant? So, okay. This is how Trump is compliant, minus the fact that he actively knew where Pence was when they were looking to hang him and still goaded this crowd into doing so. President Trump did not call for peace until after the National Guard had been called in and after the Capitol Police largely had gotten a chunk of fucking people outside of the building. President Trump had not called for peace until after a Capitol rioter was shot. Why was she shot? They barricaded the fucking door and the hallway into the chamber that they were holding the Electoral College vote in. The chamber door was not locked at this time. A Capitol Police officer literally told a woman, "If you don't stop, I will shoot." She decided to breach this barrier anyway and was shot. If I'm not mistaken, it was over 20 minutes after that happened. It was over a half an hour after everyone was evacuated from the building before Donald Trump said we need to call for peace. As this was going on in the Capitol, he was on Twitter bolstering their reasons, talking how Mike Pence was spineless, talking about how this election was stolen. What are the colors?
That was the most smooth transition. Purple and blue.
Dude, what are the colors?
Purple and blue.
What are those colors? That beeping is like, oh shit, if I don't ask, I'm going to fucking lose it.
You know what? You're already trained. Good.
I know. This is why I make such a good sub.
But I'm sis. You know what the funny? Nope, I'm not going to go there. Anyway. No, for those of you guys who don't know, Jen and I are absolutely best friends, and the dynamic you see on the show is only about half of the dynamic that you would see if you saw us hanging out. Half. I'm not nearly as nice as everybody seems to think I am. I rein Jen in because Jen is loud. If you get your ass ripped by me, there will be nothing left for Jen to touch. Just saying.
So he did not turn around and ask for peace until Jack, fuck off. Where's my artwork, you bitch? You want to fucking threaten shit? Where's the art? I will get nastier and nastier until Jack's artwork is real. However, yeah.
He called for peace after he knew the plan had failed and they had lost. He called for peace
after everything was evacuated. He called for peace after people had largely been dispersed from the building. He called for peace while they were sitting there corralled behind gates across the street from the Capitol. But meanwhile, all fucking through this attack, he turned around. I know. I like to threaten Jack because I am a massive fan of Jack's artwork, as dirty as it makes.
I mean, Jack and Quill is Jack and Quill made Harley Jesus a thing, and I have half a mind to be like, hey, Jack, would you mind coloring that in so we can use it as an actual emote for the channel, because that would be boss.
But all previous to this, and there was he knew, he turned around and he lied. He said that he didn't know that the Capitol protest was going to be a thing. He wasn't aware of the petition paperwork, which is such a fucking lie, because if you go back into his Twitter shit, even before they filed for the petition, he made note about how crazy the protest on the 6th is going to be. He knew he had time to plan this even before they had the petition paperwork go through. So he already knew.
Jack legit DM'd me, and I'm willing to make you an offer to finish coloring in that Harley Jesus thing so we can use it as an emote in the server. Legit. Yes. I will be happy to pay you for it if you need that.
He sat there while immediately after leaving this rally where the words trial by combat was uttered by Giuliani and how they're going to have to take back their government.
For it.
We're going to have to fight for it. It's going to be a trial by combat. I would march to the Capitol with you. Immediately after this. So he
also
knew.
there were a few people who were calling for 1776, which for those of you who don't know is a dog whistle saying violent insurrection.
Yes. Yes. It's meant to take back your country like they did from England. But
Ikeda says support for Harley Jesus. Thank you so much, Ikeda.
He knew. He knew the moment that he turned around and left that rally, they started walking. They had already been on the Capitol lawn while Trump was speaking. Like, he knew. And he continued.
For those of you who don't know, by the way, I actually did a video where I read this section of the speech. So for those of you
You're
who are
not going to have a country
that,
anymore if you don't fight like hell. So he knew all of this. He knew that the Capitol protest was being planned. He knew this before the petition paperwork had even been filed because he noted it. How crazy the protest on the 6th is going to be. How crazy that is.
President Bone Spurs. I linked to my video, What Allies Owe Each Other. I actually read that entire section of the speech.
I call him Commander in Shit Gibbon. I call him Commander Shit Gibbon. So that's
as for like paying artists fair rates, of course, like always pay your artists. Gaelic Knox has been paid for every bit of art that we've ever used on the channel, and every fan artist has given permission for me to show like fan art in the beginning of my videos.
All of mine is contracted out. So,
and if I'm going to use something officially, like in any capacity, like as an emote on this channel or in the Discord or anything, I'm absolutely going to pay the artist for it, 100%. Like people die of exposure. Just saying.
Excuse me.
Them's my Essex.
So he knew. He knew this was going to happen. He knew Mike Pence was in the building. He knew that this crowd had already started to storm the Capitol when he was tweeting. He was whipping up the crowd. Not so much whipping up a crowd. This was already going to happen. So he knew this was happening. And while this was happening, he knew Mike Pence was in the building. He fucking knew how close they were. He knew they were marching up the fucking stairs. And what did he do? He went and called them fucking spineless and turned around and said that he aided in the stealing of this election. He knew that the chamber door was unlocked. He knew that this crowd was walking up. He watched them storm the Capitol from his motorcade. He watched them start to walk towards the Capitol building in his motorcade when he left. He is absolutely guilty. And, excuse me, the evidence that we saw today with the timestamps, with the surveillance cameras, with the admission of Trump's speeches at the Capitol protest, with the admission of tweets, you know where the fuck your vice president is. With a timestamp of tweets, all of this is fucking damning. He knew that this crowd was moving in on the Capitol. He knew they were talking about hang Mike Pence. He was getting reports that this was happening, and he was still fucking tweeting against them. He was also, he was watching it live on TV. Trump had TVs on in his office 24/7. He literally had TV surrounding him 24/7. He needed to know what was being said about him at all times. If you think that he wasn't sitting here wrapped in fucking monitors, laughing his ass off, he knew everything that was fucking happening. And there's CCTV cameras as well. So if you think that he wasn't fucking pinging CCTV cameras and watching this shit happen and then tweeting it.
So, Jen, do you want to wrap up the stream? Because we're in the last 15 minutes. We're getting pretty close to the chill time. Let's wrap up talking about the timeline that
I hear ice going outside. So.
Let's talk about the timeline.
Hold on, I want to address Cassandra real quick. It's not that Trump could have done something, but he did nothing. Trump did do something. Trump continued to incite this crowd to kill his vice president, to hang his vice president on the fucking grounds, on the front fucking door of the Capitol building. This is what Trump was inciting to do. Trump was sitting here attempting to rip out his vice president, attempting to rip out the Speaker of the House, and inciting a fucking riot for people to break into the Capitol building, steal Electoral College votes, destroy them, and keep him in power. He was absolutely inciting people to kill the vice president. We now know this between the timestamps on the surveillance cameras, the timestamps and what was being said. Initially they said they were not violent.
All right, last one for the night.
What color?
Yellow, orange, and pink.
Oh, for fuck. Hold on, let me get done with this because that's like a process.
Well, I wanted to wrap up with the timeline of Republicans urging
Yes.
Trump to stop the Capitol rioters, because I feel like, other than the violence, this is one of the most
I'm
powerful
sorry, what
notes
was
we
that?
could
Yellow,
possibly end
orange,
on.
pink?
Yep.
Got you.
Yeah, the mob was hit. He didn't just do nothing to stop the mob. He did the exact opposite. He did everything he could to egg them on.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted that to happen. He wanted that violence.
We'll do orange here. Hold on a second, guys. I promise I will get right back. I cannot multitask for fucking shit. And I'm like, there's buttons. I have colors to push. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we now know that he continued to incite this after he knew the danger. They at first they said, it wasn't violent until Capitol Police. This was a big thing that it was hinging on, that there was no way that President Trump...
Marrow has sent in fan art on Twitter. As per always, as obligated, I will display any fan art that I get during the show.
Yes. I love this. This is going to be
Thank you so much, Marrow. You should print it out and paste it on a softball. This will be like the new Wilson.
Yeah. Oh my God, I have a soccer ball. I have a soccer ball and a broomstick. We can do this.
I will send you a link to this image, and you can have Wilson in the background of our show.
Yeah, I'll put him right here. So here's the thing. He said that there was... I don't know where Leah got it. Okay, this is going to go completely off the rails into shit because it's now been left up to me. There you are.
My computer just decided, you know what? I don't feel like breathing anymore, and you don't get to have your screen sharing. You don't get to have a screen anymore. Okay,
no, fuck off.
One of my screens went blue, and it decided to close the tab at the same time, and I'm like, I don't know what power just happened.
Fuck,
That should not have been
alone
connected
on the stream. Oh shit.
This is why we host on StreamYard, by the way, because if this had happened on OBS, there would be no stream.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. The big thing hinged on there was no way that Trump knew that they were being violent. However, we now know from the Capitol Police relaying back to dispatch, as soon as these rioters decided to march onto the Capitol, they were throwing poles at cops, they were hitting them with fences, they were attacking them. They were dismantling fences and barriers leading to the Capitol while assaulting cops. This was absolutely immediately relayed to the president. So he knew that they were violent immediately. He still will turn around to this day and say that it was a peaceful protest. Still to this day.
Well, so you can't really blame Ocean when Jen's in the stream because Jen breeds little fuckers.
They're mine. I breathe them in my pantry.
So, let's talk about the timeline of Republicans urging Trump to stop the Capitol rioters, because I don't think we can possibly end on a more powerful note than that since we started with the violence. At 2:54 p.m., Alyssa Farah, a former communications director, begged the president, condemn this now. You're the only one they will listen to for our country. Mick Mulvaney, the president's former chief of staff, his right-hand man at one point, tweeted at 3:01, the president's tweet is not enough. He can stop this now and needs to do exactly that. Tell these folks to go home. 10 minutes later, Representative Gallagher at 3:11, while secured in his own office, posted a video to Twitter. Castro said in his remarks from the Senate floor. Castro here being Joaquin Castro, who is representing the defense, or not the defense, who's representing the prosecution. In the video, Gallagher said, Mr. President, you have got to stop this. You are the only person who can call this off. Call it off. And when the president didn't answer his pleas on Twitter, Representative Gallagher went on live television. This is insane, Gallagher said on CNN. I mean, I have not seen anything like this since I deployed to Iraq in 2007 and 2008. I mean, this is America, and this is what is happening right now. The president needs to call it off. Call it off. Call it off. Castro went on to say that the message was clear that his allies wanted the president to tell the rioters to go home. How simple it would have been to give a simple command, stop, leave, Castro said. This was a dereliction of duty, plain and simple.
Joe Biden spoke before Trump. Joe Biden got a press team together and put together a live press statement before Trump even got his ass on Twitter.
And the other bit was Castro laid out, you'll recall that Donald Trump had made Vice President Pence a target. He attacked the vice president at the rallies, in speeches, and on Twitter. And during President Trump's tweets that morning of the attack, he ramped it up again,
Yeah.
noting that Trump directed his supporters' ire at the vice president nearly a dozen occasions. Castro then quoted the former president reading a snippet from Trump's January 6th morning rally. Mike Pence, I hope you're going to stand up for the good of our Constitution and for the good of your country. And if not, I'm going to be disappointed in you.
Mm-hmm. And they have, I believe they have over 60 tweets in the 30 days leading up to the Capitol riot that pointed to inciting his base. 60 tweets in 30 days. 2 a day. 2 a day on average.
And that's not counting the 40 or 50 emails you probably got a day if you were somehow managed to get on his donor list.
Just on Twitter alone. Over 60 tweets in 30 days, in the 30 days prior to the Capitol riot, that directly referenced taking back your country, the country is being stolen, the election is being stolen, and that put his believers into absolutely feeling that their lives were in danger. Over 60 tweets, over twice a day, for a month. For a month. Of him inciting that their lives were in danger.
And here's like the kind of note that I want this to end on really fast. That speech that I quoted, that last little bit, I'm going to be very disappointed in you. By 2:15 p.m., a few minutes later, the crowd was chanting in unison, "Hang Mike Pence," outside the very building he'd been evacuated from with his family, and they erected a gallows with a noose.
Hang Mike Pence. Actually, no, they were chanting that marching to the building. Mike Pence was still in the building. And they were chanting, hang Mike Pence, with his family there, with a gallows outside. And as this was happening, President Trump called Mike Pence spineless and expected him to fix this election while they were chanting hang Mike Pence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are in the wrap-up section.
Hold on. Demonic Elegance. I feel the same way, and I just want to touch on this. I will never agree with Mike Pence. I will never respect Mike Pence. I cannot have any ounce of sympathy. I shouldn't say sympathy. I cannot ever turn around and ever be in agreement and sit and smile at a man who feels that me and my child and my loved ones shouldn't exist, should be locked away in institutions never to be seen again. I will never back a man who put millions of women at risk for STDs and spiked STD rates in his own state. I'll never do
and
that.
backed putting children in cages and
putting children in cages, and feels that because I am a woman, should not work, should not have my own bank account, shouldn't have my own autonomy. However, the one person that kept this country in anything semi-normal was Mike Pence. If we had had a vice president that was anything like Trump, our country would have been far worse, far quicker. Mike Pence has been a career-long politician. He was not...
But he also was not the adult in the room several times.
But he was. And that's the scary part. Mike Pence was the adult in the inner circle. And for all that this man did, because the last 4 years, I can tell you right now, has been nothing for him but running around behind Trump and making sure that we at least have some semblance of a country. For everything that Mike Pence did. For getting Trump elected, because Trump would not have been elected without Pence, without pulling his strong Christian faith. His strong Christian base, I should say, rather. He wouldn't have gotten the office with Mike Pence. He wouldn't have retained the office without Mike Pence, because Mike Pence refused to 14th and 23rd Amendment him. What did Mike Pence get back? Trump egging his supporters on 100 feet away from him while they screamed to hang him. I can sympathize with that. I can. I that's the one time I'll feel bad for Mike Pence. Because nobody deserves that. And I also don't think that the child should pay for the sins of the father, and his family was with him. His children were with him. The children...
This is part of the reason why you will never hear me call for violence against anybody ever on my channel or even imply it. Like, this is part of the reason why we have a tendency to discuss the issues without necessarily...
Yes, I'm sorry, 25th Amendment. Yeah.
This is why we will discuss issues, but we will never, we will never ever cross that line here. We will never call for mobs to go after anybody. This is because this is what happens when you do.
Right. I don't believe in the children should atone for the sins of the father either. His children were in the line of fire. His children were in danger. And like I said, no matter how me and Mike Pence feel about each other, I'm never going to turn around and say I want him dead. I believe that he could be defeated by other means. And I'm a cruel bitch. I think that death in a lot of situations is mercy. I would much rather have somebody who has dealt an immeasurable amount of pain to people have to sit and live and breathe and watch their life and every ounce of power that they wanted to obtain be slowly stripped from them without control to stop it. I would much prefer that misery instead of putting a bullet in his head or a fucking rope around his neck and ending it quickly. I would much rather have Mike Pence live the rest of his days watching everything he cultivated completely fall around him and have to live with it. I am a cruel bitch. I would much prefer that.
As much sympathy as I have for him, at the same time, he stood by the very man that called for his head, watching as all the other peons fell underneath him. I don't feel like his family should have been punished for his sins. I don't even think anybody should ever have their life threatened in that way.
No.
At the same time, hopefully the experience will be a lesson to the Republicans that saw it, because it did end up happening, whether we like that or not, whether we think it should have or not. Hopefully it will be an experience that teaches at least some of them about pandering to an extreme far-right base that has a tendency to gather in militias. Mm-hmm. Hopefully the country will learn a lesson about falling into populist demagogues and becoming more faithful to a person than any belief.
One thing I do want to clear up here, though, when you guys watch the impeachment, you were like, oh, we have the majority. We have the majority of Democrats. This is going to go through. Not the same on an impeachment trial. For an impeachment, you need a simple majority. To convict on an impeachment, you need 2/3 a majority. 2/3 of everybody sitting in that room has to agree with this. This is where it gets tricky. Because you still have these...
We've only got 6, I think, Republicans that are guaranteed to vote after today's presentation.
2/3 majority in order to convict. And I don't know who the man behind the curtain is. I have my suspicions. I don't know for sure, so I'm not going to name it. But there is... The Republican Party is not doing well. It's extremely fractured after Trump. It's extremely fractured after QAnon, especially now that QAnon reps are being voted into office under the GOP banner. The Republican Party is incredibly fractured. So, for one, my kid is mumbling. If they start seeing divisions within the Republican Party, they're going to start pulling money, which is the biggest thing. But then they'll also start losing a voter base because the voter base feels like they can't trust the GOP. So they will stick together just on party unity, just so that they keep the money flowing, just so that they keep the voters flowing. We need 2/3 majority to convict.
For those of you who didn't understand what I meant, by the way, I'm not saying that I think that the Capitol violence should ever be a lesson that this country had to learn. It's a lesson that I hope this country does learn because it happened.
Real quick, Titan Uranus, I think Donald Trump could have shot someone on the Capitol floor and they still wouldn't convict him. Because the GOP and the Republican Party does not want to seem like fools with egg on their face, and they don't want to seem like the fractured party that they are.
So, with that, we are now in the wrap-up portion of the stream. So, Jen, what have you got going on this week?
I am probably going to do a video breaking down what a conservatorship is, and explain
a conservator tush,
but why it was grossly imposed on Britney Spears, why she has faced just the sheer amount of shit that she has, how we failed her in the last 25 years, and what needs to be done to get her proper help and to get her back on just a basic standard of living, and why this is unfair and why this commonly happens to women. So this is going to be a piece on gender inequality, and gender inequality when it comes down to the law and expectations as a caretaker and mental stability.
So I'm going to be doing one that shouldn't be controversial, but is. I'm actually doing a video this week on the namesake of the show. What is Xenia? What is, or also known as Xenia, depending on which era you're pronouncing it from. I'm going to be deep diving. I read 19 motherfucking papers and 2 monographs, all of the essays in them on, like, one of them was on reciprocity, one of them was on the organization of the Athenian city-states. I am deep diving into the Odyssey specifically because of its concept of theoxania, which is the idea that the gods will show up at your doorstep disguised as somebody poorer than you and kick your absolute ass every inch of it if you are shitty to them, and how that shows up throughout the Iliad and the Odyssey, and how the Odyssey is effectively a punishment story for what happens when you're shitty. This video also inspired what might be next week's video. I'm considering doing a video on discernment, aka how the hell, like, am I crazy? How do I figure out if I've had a divine experience or not? What does it mean? So yeah, this week I'm going to be putting up a video on Xenia. For those who are waiting for it from my Patreon, I apologize. I have had so much crap going on. One of the members of my family is currently in the hospital, so that's been going on, and there's been some other stuff. So I was unable to get recording done on Monday and Tuesday. I had to do it today, and then I had an entire ass emergency where my husband had to run out and buy a new filter for my fish tank because the leak came out of the edge of my current filter and nearly set my house on with an electrical fire because the flood reached all the way to the circuit breaker that we had the entire aquarium apparatus plugged into. So that was most of what I got about halfway into editing today. Well, early in the day, I was like, I'm going to get this done before the show. And then shit hit the fan. So apologies to my patrons for getting out the preview a little bit late, but I'm going to try to get it done by the end of tonight so that I can get that video out tomorrow. It'll be out at the usual premiere time at 6 PST/9 EST. Yeah, if you guys are interested in Xenia, like the show's namesake, I'll also actually be talking about the Xenia Declaration and how it is not cultural appropriation like some of the more vocal, but we'll say folkish members of the community like to claim.
Those motherfuckers. I'm going to be putting out my video either Friday or Saturday, whenever the fuck I get it done, y'all. It's been Saturday lately. I don't know how y'all been feeling about that. I may move back to Thursday. I'm also toying with possibly releasing on Wednesdays. So, we'll see.
So thank you guys again so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for your incredible level of support. You guys have been so generous the last few times. I'm going to reiterate every time, we are always going to be doing the lights thing. Nobody should ever feel pressured to donate. If you don't make it into the slots this week, you will get a chance next week. You guys don't have to rush to fill those in. It's actually kind of exciting when we get them sprinkled all throughout the show. But thank you again for coming out to support.
I think they do it just to watch me, like, just to watch my brain short circuit and trying to figure out 3 different lights. I think that's half the reason they do it.
As always,
like,
whatever... we are extremely transparent with money on this channel. Whatever YouTube lets us keep, Jen and I will split from this show specifically, not from my solo streams or from the ad revenue, because the ad revenue is so that it doesn't even matter.
Could you imagine trying to decipher every fucking video's ad revenue? Could you imagine trying to say what
this month, I think we made about 20 cents on the playbacks. Like,
oh my God. It's like, well, 0.003 went to that one.
Oh no, Jack and Quill is exporting. The threatened art has existed. We have to wait for a moment to wrap up the show to show it off. Oh God.
Okay, I'm nervous now.
Multicolors are being given deliberately to raise the F-bomb counter. It's too bad we didn't have counters.
I fucking figured.
We didn't have our
itch like
no Frith with focus and no Xenia with xenophobes. We're actually
no Frith with fascist either. Motherfuckers.
Nope. But, like, I am going to say, guys, this video has inspired a ton of exegetical stuff with the Odyssey for me. Like, it made me fall in love with my goddess all over again, which I'm really, really excited about. But, like, oh God, this is for the memes, guys. All right, final shot, and I'm going to be sharing it probably at the beginning of my next video, not the one tomorrow, because that's already recorded and in the process of being edited, but the next one. This is amazing, Jack and Quill. This is actually awesome. It's a meme. Like, what is this? What? What?
That's legitimately, that was like me yesterday. The
That's
short
both of
hair.
us just like, what the fuck?
Short, like legitimate. Okay, so like that's how I sat on the couch watching this. Like the hair was pushed back like that. Like I had a tank top on. I had like an over sweater because it was cold. Like this is literally what I looked like watching Trump's lawyer yesterday. That was the same. That was the same face. That's literally what I looked like. Jack and Quill, you were fucking amazing.
All right, so I have to close the thing. Apparently, there was another one on Twitter. You might need 2 soccer balls. So give me a moment.
Oh no.
Apparently, the Jen version has been submitted on Twitter, so
I have
that'll be the last
basketballs.
thing. And then we're going to say the last. Oh gods, of course, the boobs had to be included in Jen's. This might not be safe for YouTube, guys. Like this might not. I'm sorry. It's really graphic. Like this is a warning that anybody who's under 18 should absolutely avert their eyes from this incredible quality stick figure art here. So I think you need to like glue 2 soccer balls together and maybe a third one on top.
That was me before I had my kid, though. Well, no, because my boobs weren't that big then. But yeah.
That
was my butt for sure.
I was about to say, is that your butt? I'm not really sure.
You know what's funny? Like I dropped the weight and everything from my ass went to my tits. And I'm like, can I just get both? Like this, I had a bigger ass and bigger hips my whole life, but I had like fucking no chest whatsoever, right? So I get real heavy. I get these motherfuckers slapped on me. And then my ass just like disappears. And I'm like, oh, this is not fucking fair. Like this is fucking ridiculous. Really?
Victoria, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I do not consider myself a god spouse, but Athena is my patron goddess, and I love her more every time I read the Odyssey. She is so clever and brilliant and amazing, and fucking hell, like I love everything.
Now, if
about her.
Allie's
so
gonna have a
glad you
date
called
with
me
a
the
goddess, since y'all are fucking convinced I'm Freya, it's me.
Oh God, you are inviting more shipping art, Jen. Are you sure you want to open Pandora's box?
I know. No, the Taurus system, that's the thing. So, all right, real quick, because I'm going to break this down for the Taurus system. So, I put on like 65 pounds when I got pregnant, right? Legit, fucking 5 of that was my kid. I was like, you know what? I'm going to push this big head motherfucker out. I'm going to be skinny again. No, the fuck I wasn't. So, I just gained weight everywhere except here. Nothing. My ass was fabulous. Did not get tits with this big headed motherfucker. These didn't happen until I put on a ton of weight about 2 years ago. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago. That's when these happened. And then when everything else started to fall off, my ass was the first thing that fucking went. What the fuck? But
so Jack and Quill asked me to show the original for his. This is the meme that he was Jack and Quill, I think you go by they. This was the meme that was being shown. This is the meme that was an impression of.
Hold on, Gaynor, what do you mean by that? I am very well aware of Cyrus's community, and I contribute to the debauchery. and I appreciate contributing to that debauchery, okay?
I mean, Jack and Quill came from Cyrus's community. Yeah. Again, apologies if I got pronouns wrong. I forgot to go and check them on the, I think it was they. I wasn't sure if it was they or he. Okay, he. Okay, sorry about that. I was not actually sure. I wanted to make sure because I had not actually checked your pronouns, and I feel bad because I normally check. So good to know that I got it right the first time.
Are surrounding the room right now and staring at me.
Did you forget to feed them?
No, I fed them. And I'm stuck in my bra strap again. Fucking shit.
There is a ride going. So I'm sorry if I forgot your pronouns. Again, I had forgotten to check them on the server, and this is why we have pronoun roles, and I'm bad. I'm horrible. So, again, thank you guys so much for joining us. Holy crap, we had over 100 people for the majority of the stream. This is one of our, we had 115 at max or so, is what I saw.
Holy fuck.
For those of you that are still here, all 100 of you, hit the like button or the dislike if you never want to see my face again. Go sub to Jen. I don't know how I've nearly doubled her sub count, but I have.
Because
and,
you do way more fucking work than I do because I'm a lazy bitch. I am a lazy fucking bitch as well.
Thank you guys. And as always, as we say at the end of every single one of these, we built the coalition. Now let's fight. We're stronger together.